My wife said he is my friend. It is not wrong to help his daughter. She needs a mother figure. I handed her the divorce papers and said perfect timing because Sophia's about to need a new babysitter. I am Nash. 36M, financial advisor in Charleston. Been married to Kendall, 33F, for 8 years. We have been struggling with infertility for 3 years, which has been rough on both of us. But I thought we were handling it together. About 4 months ago, Kendall started volunteering at the community center. Said she wanted to give back and be around kids, since we couldn't have our own yet. I supported it completely, seemed like healthy coping. She was helping with after-school programs, weekend activities, really threw herself into it. But then things started feeling off. She would come home later than expected, always had her phone face down, started talking about the families she was helping with this weird intensity, particularly one family. Mateo and his 8-year-old daughter Sophia. Mateo's a restaurant manager whose wife died 2 years ago, and Kendall kept bringing up how hard it must be for him to raise Sophia alone. That poor little girl needs a mother figure, she would say. Mateo's doing his best, but men just don't understand what daughters need. Now, my dad left my mom for his secretary when I was 14, so I have got some trust issues when it comes to sudden changes in behavior. Call it paranoia. But I have learned to pay attention when something feels wrong. 3 weeks ago, I decided to drive by the community center after one of her volunteer sessions. Her car wasn't there. I called her cell. She said she was still at the center, helping clean up. I could hear restaurant noise in the background. That night, I started really watching. Phone bills showed dozens of calls to a number I didn't recognize. Credit card showed charges at Mateo's family restaurant, Coraz N, on days she claimed to be volunteering. Her laptop had Google searches for helping single fathers and blended family dynamics. I am a financial advisor. I analyze patterns for a living. This pattern was crystal clear. Instead of confronting her immediately, I did what I do best. I called my buddy Grant, who is a divorce attorney, started documenting everything, opened a separate bank account, and moved half our savings. Changed my direct deposit, took pictures of her phone when she was in the shower. Got a PI to follow her for 2 weeks. The PI's report was thorough. 3-hour lunches at Mateo's restaurant, picking up Sophia from school. Evening visits to his apartment above the restaurant. She was playing house with another man's family while lying to me about volunteering. But I waited. I wanted her to ask for what she really wanted. Yesterday, she brought up Mateo and Sophia again over dinner. I have been thinking, Nash, that little girl really needs stability. Mateo's struggling financially with the restaurant, and Sophia needs guidance. I think we should help them out more. Help them how? Well, I could spend more time with Sophia, maybe help with school pickup, homework, girl stuff, and maybe we could invest in the restaurant. Give them some stability. She wanted me to bankroll her affair and help raise her boyfriend's kid. The audacity was breathtaking. You know what, Kendall? I think you are right. Sophia does need stability. I went to my briefcase and pulled out the manila envelope Grant had prepared. Divorce papers, financial asset division, and a flash drive with the PI's photo evidence. Here is some stability for everyone involved. Her face went white. Nash, what is this? Your divorce papers. And before you try to explain or lie, there is a USB drive with 3 weeks of surveillance photos. You picking Sophia up from school, you having lunch dates with Mateo, you leaving his apartment at midnight on Tuesday. She just stared at the papers, mouth open. The good news is, you can help raise Sophia all you want now. The bad news is you will be doing it without my financial support or my house. Nash, please. It is not what you think. We are just friends. Sophia needed Kendall. Stop. I am a financial advisor. I have spent 3 months documenting this, like an audit. I have bank records, phone records, photos, and witness statements. Don't insult both of us by pretending this is innocent. She started crying. We didn't plan for this to happen. It just developed. I am sure it did. You can develop it all you want now, just not in my house or with my money. I felt this weird calm satisfaction, like when you have been preparing for a presentation for weeks and finally nail it. 3 months of investigation, legal preparation, and strategic planning had led to this perfect moment. She kept the papers and left to think things over at her sister's house. But we both know there is nothing to think over. I have got everything documented, legally protected, and ready to go. The irony is, if she had just talked to me about wanting kids or feeling unfulfilled, we could have worked something out. Adoption, fostering, counseling. But instead she chose to lie, cheat, and try to manipulate me into funding her fantasy family. 3 years of infertility struggles. And she throws away our marriage for someone else's ready-made family. But at least now I know where I stand. Grant says the divorce should be straightforward since I have got everything documented. South Carolina is at fault state, so her adultery means she gets basically nothing. Sometimes, the best revenge is just being better prepared than the person trying to screw you over. Update 1. She walked in, acting like we were going to have some tearful reunion where I would forgive her, and we would go to couples therapy. She even brought flowers. Nash. Honey, we need to talk about this calmly. I know you are hurt, but I cut her off. Kendall, you need to understand something. This isn't a discussion. This is me telling you how this is going to work. I spread out the evidence on our dining table like I was presenting a case study to a client. Phone records highlighting the calls to Mateo, credit card statements showing the restaurant charges, photos from the pie showing her leaving Mateo's apartment building, bank records showing the money she had been spending on Sophia's clothes and school supplies. Her face went through about 5 different expressions as she realized how thorough I had been. You have been playing house with Mateo and Sophia for 3 months while lying to me about volunteering. You have been using our joint account to buy gifts for his daughter. You have been telling him you are divorced while sleeping in my bed every night. She tried to interrupt, but I kept going. Here is the best part, Kendall. I called the community center yesterday. They said you stopped volunteering 6 weeks ago. So when you have been telling me you are at the center until 8 p.m., you have actually been having dinner with your boyfriend and his kid. That is when she completely lost it. Started crying, saying it just happened. That she never meant to hurt me. That Sophia needed a mother figure and Mateo was so lonely. So lonely that he has been dating a married woman who has been lying about her entire life. He doesn't know I am married. Nash. I told him I was divorced because what? Because married women having affairs sounds worse than divorced women dating widowers. She actually tried to justify it. I was going to tell him eventually, after we figured out what we wanted. What you wanted, Kendall. You figured out what you wanted. A ready-made family without having to deal with the man you married. Then she hit me with the manipulation I had been expecting. Nash, we have been struggling with having kids for years. This could be good for both of us. Sophia needs stability. Mateo needs help. And we could finally have the family we wanted. The entitlement was staggering. She wanted me to raise her boyfriend's kid while she played mommy to another man's family. Kendall, let me explain something to you. Sophia doesn't need you as a mother figure. She needs you to stop lying to her father about who you are. Mateo doesn't need your help. He needs to know that the woman he has been dating is married and has been using him to fill a void in her own life. That is when I dropped the real bomb. I called Mateo this afternoon. Her face went dead white. You what? I called him. Had a very interesting conversation. Turns out he had no idea you were married, thought you were divorced for 2 years. He was pretty shocked to learn that your husband has been paying for the gifts you have been buying his daughter. She started hyperventilating. Nash, you had no right. I had every right. You involved him in your lies. So he deserved to know the truth. The conversation with Mateo had been painful for both of us. He is a good guy who genuinely thought he was dating a divorced woman who loved his daughter. Finding out she was married and had been lying about everything devastated him. S.E. or Coleman, he had said. I am so sorry. I never would have. She told me you were divorced. She said you didn't want children, and that is why you split up. Even through my anger, I felt bad for the guy. He had been manipulated just as much as I had. What did he say? Kendall asked. Like she was afraid to hear the answer. He said he never wants to see you again. He said he cannot trust you around his daughter anymore. He said he feels sick knowing he was involved in destroying someone's marriage. She broke down completely. then full sobbing, begging me to call him back and explain the situation. Explain what situation? Kendall, that you are a liar who manipulated both of us. That you wanted me to pay for you to play house with another family. That you threw away 8 years of marriage for a fantasy? It wasn't a fantasy. I love him, Nash. I love Sophia. We could have been happy. You could have been happy. Without caring about anyone else's feelings or consent. That is not love, Kendall. That is selfishness. She spent the night at her sister's again. Her parents called me this morning. They had heard her version of events and wanted to understand what was happening. I sent them copies of the evidence. Her father called me back an hour later. Nash, we are disgusted. We didn't raise her to be like this. You have our support in whatever you decide to do. Even her own family is appalled by her behavior. Grant says she is going to fight the divorce proceedings. Claim it was just an emotional affair that never got physical. But the photos show her leaving Mateo's apartment at midnight multiple times. Good luck explaining that to a judge. The weird part is, I am not even angry anymore. I am just relieved. Like I have been carrying around this weight for months and finally get to put it down. I know exactly who I am dealing with now, and I know exactly how this ends. Sometimes the trash takes itself out. You just have to be patient enough to let it happen. Update 2. This is getting crazier by the day. Kendall showed up at my office yesterday morning, completely unhinged. My assistant buzzed me, Mr. Coleman. Your wife is here demanding to see you, she seems. Upset. Upset was an understatement. She stormed into my office, looking like she hadn't slept in days. Nash, you have ruined everything. Mateo will not talk to me. Sophia keeps asking why I cannot pick her up from school anymore. You destroyed an innocent relationship. Innocent, Kendall. You were having an affair. There was nothing innocent about it. It wasn't an affair. We were helping each other. He needed support raising Sophia. And you needed what? A ready-made family so you didn't have to deal with our actual problems. She started pacing around my office like a caged animal. You don't understand what it is like. Nash. Seeing all my friends with their kids, going to baby showers, watching everyone else get what we cannot have. Mateo and Sophia needed me. They made me feel useful. So instead of talking to your husband about these feelings, you decided to lie and cheat. I wasn't cheating. We were building something beautiful together. I pulled up the photos on my computer. Kendall, you are leaving his apartment at midnight on a Tuesday. What exactly were you building at midnight? She couldn't answer that one. Then she hit me with something I wasn't expecting. Fine. You want to know the truth? Yes. I was sleeping with him. Yes. I lied to both of you. But I was happy, Nash. For the first time in years, I was actually happy. Doesn't that count for something? The honesty was almost refreshing. Finally, no more pretending it was about helping anyone. Your happiness cost me my marriage, cost Mateo his trust, and cost Sophia a stable adult in her life. No, Kendall, your happiness at everyone else's expense doesn't count for anything. She tried a different approach. So what if we could make this right with everyone? I could talk to Mateo, explain that I made mistakes, but my feelings were real. I could apologize to you and we could go to counseling. We could figure out how to blend our families. I just stared at her. Kendall, Mateo doesn't want to see you. I don't want to be married to you. There is no blending families. There is just you facing the consequences of your choices. That is when she completely lost it. Started screaming about how I was destroying her chance at happiness, and how I was punishing everyone because of my trust issues. My assistant called security to escort her out. But here is where it gets really interesting. After she left, I got a call from Mateo. Mr. Coleman, could we meet? I think we should talk. We met at a coffee shop downtown that afternoon. He looked exhausted. I want to apologize again for my part in this situation, he said. I truly believed she was divorced. She had stories about you, about how you didn't want children, about how the divorce was finalized last year. She told you I didn't want children? She said you were focused on your career and didn't want the responsibility. She said that is why you split up. The lies were even deeper than I had thought. She had created an entire fictional narrative about our marriage to justify her affair. Mateo. I have been trying to have children with her for 3 years. We have done fertility treatments, counseling, everything. Having kids wasn't the problem in our marriage. Her lying was the problem. He shook his head. Sophia has been asking about her constantly. She doesn't understand why Miss Kendall cannot come to dinner anymore or help with homework. How are you handling that? I told her that Miss Kendall has other responsibilities now, but it is hard. Sophia got attached. We talked for about an hour. He is a good father, works hard at the restaurant, trying to give Sophia a stable life after losing her mother. He didn't deserve to get caught up in Kendall's drama. Then he mentioned something interesting. I have been thinking about selling the restaurant. Sophia needs to be closer to my family in Atlanta. My mother could help with childcare, and there are better schools there. What is stopping you? The restaurant has been in my family for 15 years. My wife helped me build it before she passed. But it is not profitable enough to support just me and Sophia, especially with childcare costs. An idea started forming in my head. What if you didn't have to choose between the restaurant and supporting Sophia? He looked confused. What do you mean? What if someone invested in the restaurant, made it profitable again, but kept you as manager? You would have financial stability. Sophia would have consistency, and you wouldn't have to choose between family history and family security. Who would make that kind of investment? I smiled. I would. His eyes widened. Mr. Coleman, I cannot ask you to. You are not asking. I am offering. I have been looking for investment opportunities, and your restaurant has good bones. With proper financial management and some capital investment, it could be very profitable. We spent the next 2 hours going over the restaurant's books. He was right. It was struggling. But not because of the food or location. It was struggling because he is a chef, not a businessman, and he has been trying to run it alone while raising an 8-year-old. If I bought the restaurant, would you stay on as manager and head chef? You would want me to stay, Mateo. You didn't do anything wrong here. You were lied to just like I was. Why should you lose your family's restaurant? Because my wife manipulated both of us. He started tearing up. Mr. Coleman, I don't know what to say. Say you will think about it. Take your time. But I think we could turn this situation into something positive for everyone who actually deserves it. When I got home, I called Grant to discuss the business acquisition details. He thought I was crazy at first. I want to invest in a good business opportunity that happens to belong to a man who was deceived by the same woman who deceived me. That is either the most mature thing I have ever heard, or you are having a breakdown. Maybe both. But it makes financial sense, and it helps a good father provide for his daughter. Grant's drawing up the paperwork now. Mateo and I are meeting tomorrow to finalize details. The irony is incredible. Kendall thought she was going to get a ready-made family with Mateo and Sophia. Instead, she lost her husband, her boyfriend, and her role in Sophia's life. Meanwhile, Mateo and I are building a business partnership that will provide real stability for his daughter. Turns out the best way to help Sophia wasn't to steal someone else's wife. It was to work with someone who actually understood what family responsibility looks like. Final update. It has been 6 months since I handed Kendall those divorce papers, and I figured you guys deserved to know how everything turned out. The divorce finalized 3 months ago. South Carolina's adultery laws meant Kendall got basically nothing except her personal belongings and her car. She tried to fight it, claiming the affair was emotional only. But those midnight apartment photos made that argument pretty weak. Grant handled everything perfectly. Kendall ended up moving to Atlanta with some guy she met on a dating app 2 weeks after our divorce was final. Apparently, she told him she was escaping an emotionally abusive marriage and starting fresh. They got engaged after 2 months. I hear through mutual friends that she is already complaining about his kids from his first marriage being difficult to bond with. Some people never learn. But here is the good news. The restaurant deal worked out better than I expected. I bought Corazon from Mateo for a fair price that paid off his debts and gave him a fresh start. He stayed on as manager and head chef. I invested another 50 grand into renovating the kitchen, upgrading equipment, and hiring a proper bookkeeper. We also brought in a marketing consultant to improve our online presence. The restaurant is now profitable for the first time in 3 years. Mateo's getting a good salary plus profit sharing, so he and Sophia have real financial security. She is in a better school district now that they can afford it, and Matteo hired his cousin Maria to help with after-school care when he is working late. The weird thing is, Matteo and I have actually become friends through this business partnership. Not best friends or anything. We don't hang out on weekends, but we respect each other. We both got manipulated by the same person, and we both chose to build something positive instead of staying bitter. Sophia's doing great too. She is 8. So she bounced back from the Miss Kendall situation pretty quickly. She loves helping at the restaurant on weekends, and Matteo's teaching her to make tortillas. Kid's got a bright future. As for my personal life, I am dating someone new. Her name's Rebecca. She is a pediatric nurse, and she knows the whole story. We met at a charity event for children's literacy. She was volunteering. I was donating. She thinks it is either really mature or slightly psychotic that I went into business with my ex-wife's former affair partner. But she appreciates that I turned a bad situation into something constructive. Most men would have just tried to destroy everyone involved, she told me. You found a way to help the people who actually deserved help. Rebecca's been trying to have kids her whole adult life too, so we understand each other's struggles. We are taking things slow, going to counseling together, being honest about our fears and hopes. It is nice to be with someone who sees partnership as teamwork instead of competition. The funniest part of this whole situation is that Kendall occasionally calls Matteo, trying to check on Sophia or see how everyone's doing. He just hangs up on her now. Sophia doesn't ask about her anymore. Last month, Kendall's sister told me that Kendall's new marriage is already struggling because she expected his kids to accept her immediately, and she is frustrated with their behavioral problems. She apparently told her new husband that she has experience with children because she helped raise Sophia. Matteo almost choked on his coffee when I told him that one. She picked Sophia up from school 6 times and helped with homework twice. Create a fantasy, convince everyone to buy into it, then get angry when reality doesn't match her expectations. The real success story here is Sophia. She has got a stable home, a good school, a father who can provide for her without constant stress, and a business that will help pay for her college someday. None of that had anything to do with Kendall's help. It came from her father's hard work and some strategic business investment. Sometimes the best thing you can do after someone betrays you is prove that your life gets better without them, while helping the people they left behind.